Sidney Lopez Cabral, remember the name because he has just urged his name into immortality of the World Cup. He will forever be played in the World Cup every single year because that goal, absolutely Puskas worthy. That goal, absolutely best goal of the World Cup worthy because what he did, he called his number. He could easily just have lofted that ball into the box for an opportunity for them to absolutely put it in the back of the net because that goal, the height on the ball dipping down, getting into the 90-degree corner, into the side netting. There was no keeper in this world. Even though you had Donnarumma on top Neuer, there was no way you were going to absolutely catch that ball. And the funny thing about it is that he almost did it the second time with that free kick. It is truly remarkable because, my goodness, he absolutely made a name for himself. I know he plays for Trabzonspor, but now we talk about Cabo Verde. Cabo Verde absolutely stepped into this game and nobody gave them a chance. Vegas literally thought that Argentina was going to walk them over. The amount of odds that Cape Verde had was absolutely single to none, but they came in there and they deserved this win. In fact, we all know what Argentina is when it comes to the World Cup. They are honestly the biggest bullies that we have seen in the World Cup, and we know the FIFA favors them, but we will not go into those conspiracies. What we are going to be talking about today is Cape Verde, because it is not very often we see Messi outshined, outmad, out-brillianced in this particular game. From the start of the game to the end of the game, in my mind, it's all about Cape Verde. The way they set up tactically was all about Cape Verde. Messi figured it out, and that's how Messi was able to get the opportunity to score. However, my goodness, where they absolutely want to represent. Let me tell you now, this is the statement of the World Cup. Before the World Cup, every single person you asked if they knew where Cape Verde on the map was, every single person, apart from Africans, did not know. However, the world can never say they do not know Cape Verde anymore because they have absolutely stood up and shown that they are here to represent and they are here to win it all. Don't get me wrong, they did not win this World Cup, but they won this World Cup because nobody was able to beat Cape Verde in 90 minutes of football. Let's get that straight. They faced Spain, they faced Uruguay. Nobody was able to defeat Cape Verde in 90 minutes. It took Argentina, the world best, or the reigning champions of the World Cup, to win them. It took them 120 minutes plus the addition of ref opportunities and ref points in this situation. My goodness, Cape Verde, we are so proud of you. Vamos! Argentina might have advanced to the round of 16, but Cape Verde has just become immortal when it comes to the minds of football lovers, of soccer lovers, because Argentina, the score says 3-2 after extra time, but the story is much bigger than the result. Argentina needed over 120 minutes to eliminate the smallest nation in the goddamn World Cup. And this is the first nation, the smallest nation, to get into the knockout stages. Don't get it twisted. What we watched yesterday was Cape Verde and these players urging their name in world history. Let me even mention the player's name so you can absolutely remember it. First is Vosinha. Vosinha, the World Cup goalkeeper that absolutely took the World Cup the Cape Verde goalkeeper that took the World Cup in shock with 10 saves, literally beating the saves of what's his name, the US goalkeeper, Tim Howard. Mourinho, the right back. Lopez, the center back. Borges, the center back. Cabral. Let me say his full name. Sidney Lopez Cabral. Pillah. The other Cabral, that is a left winger. Duarte, they have two Duartes in the midfield. Mendes, who is Ryan Mendes, as the right winger. And then you have the Costa. They have all etched their names into this flipping world history. In fact, I will take it further and mention every single person in this Cape Verde camp because they absolutely deserve it. Romero Motinho, right there. Livramento Dalion, right there. Varela Hielo, right there. Semedo Willie, right there. Yannick Semedo, right there. Gilson Benchimo, right there. Carlos Dos Santos, the goalkeeper, right there. Mocinho Rosa, right there. Calvin Pires, right there. Logan Costa, right there. Spopina, I think that's how you pronounce his name, right there. Wagner Pina, right there. Joao Paulo, right there. Gary Rodriguez, right there. Telmo Arcanjo, I believe that's how you pronounce the name, right there. Those were the players that went and absolutely gave their hardest, gave their everything to this goddamn World Cup. I understand that they are out of the World Cup. I understand that. But my goodness, did they make a name for themselves? Vosinia said this before the World Cup started. Going into the World Cup, nobody knew where Cape Verde was. But now when we leave the World Cup, they will know our name. They will know each of them. And I understand that's the reason I took a second to mention every single one of them, so every single person can know them. Because yes, Vosinia would take a lot of credit. Sidney Lopez Cabral would take a whole lot of credit. But we needed to know all of them. Because my goodness, did they absolutely make everyone proud. Now, let's start with this. Nobody expected this before kickoff. Nobody expected this before kickoff. Everyone expected Argentina to just cruise. They are the reigning champions, of course. Lionel Messi is chasing another World Cup, of course. Cabo Verde is making their World Cup debut. And in that reign of situations, we all understood that it was going to be difficult for us to see Cabo Verde absolutely defeat Argentina. It was all known, it was all concluded in people's minds. But one thing they did not understand is that football is the reason, this is the reason we love football. Because any single person on their day will knock out any single person. It's not like you have Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson in one team, and you know that the rest of the league is absolutely done because of the firepower that Golden State Warriors have. With this particular one, we are looking at an Argentina team that is filled with superstars. Lionel Messi, arguably the best player in the world. Martinez, absolutely striker of our generation. DePaul, absolutely the bodyguard of Messi, because I don't even know what he does on the pitch anymore, but fights for Messi. McAllister, a world-class midfielder. Enzo Fernandez, world-class talent. Almada, very, very good player. Medina, very good player. Martinez, one of the best centre-backs we have seen in this generation or this 5-year span when it comes to passing out the back and defending in general. Cuti Romero, world-class. Molina, world class. Oh, it's a little shaky. It's a little bit shaky. And then you have Dibu Martinez, another world class striker. Goalkeeper. So you have a team that is filled with a superstar talent. You also have the likes of Julian Alvarez that did not even come on until the 63rd minute. But that is the amount of talents that they had to bring on. They still had Nico Paz on the bench. You get me? They still had Valentin Barco. These are still talented players that they had to bring on that they did not even bring on. So this is literally Goliath versus David. That is what we watched today. And David absolutely stepped up again. They stepped up again and they tossed the stone with a sling. Excuse me. They tossed the stone with that sling. They made sure that every single person felt their heart and soul, and they were not going out without a fight. And that right there is truly remarkable, because every single person expected them to be dog-walked, but instead Cabo Verde equalized. Argentina scored again. Cabo Verde equalized again. Argentina finally found a late winner in the extra time. That's not a lucky performance in my mind. That's right there is belief. And they told every single person that they are going to have belief. And that's what they showed us today. It's only Cabo Verde, people said. It's only Cabo Verde that people said. Look at this tournament. Just look at the big picture of this tournament. Drew with Spain, drew with Uruguay, forced Argentina into 120 minutes of football, lost by 1 goal against 3 of football giants. They refused to disappear. They refused to flipping disappear. Spain, they had everybody. They even brought on Yamal. So it's not an excuse that they did not have him. They brought on Yamal, they brought on Nico Williams, and they still couldn't beat Cabo Verde. Uruguay had all the people with Uruguay, had all the people running back and forth, and they still could not beat Cabo Verde. They still could not beat it. This is the part of a much bigger story, because African teams aren't just participating anymore. I said it, I made a video about This is Africa, and I needed every single person to understand. Yes, majority of those teams have been knocked out in these knockout stages, but that is only telling a story. That is only telling you that, bro, these teams are getting ready. They are coming closer and closer. And by the end of this decade, I believe an African team is going to win the World Cup. Mark my words. Mark my flipping words. Technically, they are organized. Technically, they are gifted. And mentally, they are fearless. Nobody battles more than African teams. And Cabo Verde gave us another example of that. Cabo Verde didn't pack the bus for 120 minutes. They attacked. They believed. In fact, it was a situation that Bobiznia, I think that's his name. Let me get the coach's name right before, because I have to give him credit. Booby Star absolutely gave a masterclass of how to coach when you're in this kind of situation. Every single person thought it was going to be pack the bus for 120 minutes. Even the likes of Gary Lineker is getting it wrong based on my evaluation, that the way Cabo Verde played. Because he says that they packed the bus. They did not pack the bus. What they did was they literally made the game shrink. They made the game shrink, even understanding the fact that they were not going to have the ball. They were not going to be having the ball. They were behind the ball. But what they did was that they shrunk that pocket of space that Messi usually operates in. And that was brilliant to me. They told their defense, the back four, to step up. And that's why they put Pillah in that middle. They literally did a 4-1-4-1. And that was the brilliant part of it. Now, after like 24 to the first hydration break, Messi had already realized what they were doing, and he was able to then counter it. And that's the brilliance of Lionel Messi. He was able to counter it. But what we saw today was brave understanding of football tactics, understanding of football nouns, understanding of football brilliance, and how to absolutely counter someone like that. Don't get me wrong. It took a brilliant pass from Lisandro Martinez to Lionel Messi for Messi to get his first goal. And the funny thing about it is that when you look at this whole situation, of course, Messi got the man of the match from FootMob. It doesn't make any sense to me, because he was not the best player on that pitch. He was not the best player on that pitch. Just in his team, Lisandro Martinez got an assist and a goal. Talk less of the defensive duties that he had. So in my mind, Lisandro Martinez gets it if you must give it to the person that won. But we will not talk about it because they always favor the young man. They always favor Messi. But we keep on going. Vocinia. That is, he gets legendary status. At 40 years old, goalkeeper Vocinia produced one of the most best performances in a World Cup that we have seen from a goalkeeper in a long time. He kept Cabo Verde alive with huge saves and became one of the stories of the tournament. We are going to also talk about Vocinia in this particular channel. We are going to be giving him a video of his own, because that is what he deserves. He has gotten legendary status in my mind. In my mind. Argentina, we saw the warning. This wasn't a wake-up call in their situation for Argentina. Lionel Scaloni admitted afterward the game that knockout football is about suffering, and praised Cabo Verde for pushing his side to the limit. Cabo Verde pushed them to the limit. If Argentina defend like this against stronger opponents, they will not survive. They will not survive. And I'm saying stronger opponents, I just mean opponents that have more of an attacking presence. Have people that will put the ball in the back of the net the moment they get a chance. One opportunity, one goal. One opportunity, one goal. You understand? We understand Messi's goal because a beautiful pass from Lisandro Martinez from his own yard box into Messi. Messi gets the first touch with his left foot and puts the ball in the back of the net, and it was pitch perfect, and we have to give him credit for that. But then you look at Deroy Duante's equalizer. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You saw the first nutmeg to pass to Deroy. Deroy gets the ball and absolutely smacks it on the ground. He smacks it on the ground, doing a double nutmeg, going through the legs of Lisandro Martinez, and that ball just skipped off the turf or skipped up the grass, and Dibu Martinez could not stop it. And that was the first equalizer. And Cabo Verde absolutely went crazy, and I went crazy for it too. Lisandro Martinez, then at the extra time, I believe, extra time, it was 1-1, extra time in that situation. Lisandro Martinez gets the ball in the back post. Now, it's arguably that goal should not have stood, because Tagliafico took down Sidney Lopez Cabral. He took him down. So what in that situation I look at is like, could he have gotten to Lisandro Martinez before Lisandro Martinez shot that ball? And if he would have, then that means that goal shouldn't have stood. You get me? But we'll not try and revise history. We'll not try and start decomposing or literally breaking down with the decisions of the referee. But that's just my thought process. That's just my mindset. And when I'm looking at that situation, and then Lisandro Martinez, not taking anything away from him with that finish. What a finish. To the roof of the net. As a defender, we know Lisandro Martinez, when it comes to technical ability, he's up there with the rest of them. He's up there with the rest of them. He puts it in the back of the net, and that is 2-1. But they think they have won in that situation, and the ball lands to Sidney Lopez Cabral. Remember the name. He plays for Trabzonspor, if I'm not mistaken, right now. 3 years ago, he was in the 3rd division in Germany. In flipping Germany, 3rd division. He got a stunning extra time equalizer that literally broke my screen. It literally, my head was boom. I could not imagine what I was watching. I could honestly not imagine what I was watching. And then Argentina finally finds a way, a decisive. Before I go to Argentina, the goal from Sidney Lopez Cabral. After he scores and he puts his head on his head and he understands that he just did something remarkable, he runs the pace of the pitch. He literally gave us an Adebayor. He runs the pace of the pitch and goes into the fans and was looking for his girl. He was looking for his girl, and his girl was there celebrating and literally says, "I love you," because my goodness, what is there not to love about the man? What is there not to love about the man, especially after he just did that? Especially after he just represented his country with everything he got. By the way, those flipping clit boots on his feet are one of my favorites, all-time favorites. Bro, that is what I wore when I was in high school. That was what I wore when I scored the free kick that took us to the final in Amasaf. If you know, you know. The Nike Vapor Phantom ones. Man, if anybody has that, please let me know. I'll buy it. I've been looking for those boots ever since I lost them. I've been looking for it. But that is what he wore, and I was so happy. Not because it reminded me of my days, but just the brilliance of the strike. Just the cojones to actually strike the ball. Just the ability to say, look, I have the opportunity. I know my talent, and I'm going to bet on myself. And he puts it in the back of the net. He puts it in the back of the net. Argentina then, of course, goes and finds a goal in that situation, getting from a set piece from Cuti Romero, but it was an own goal. And I felt so bad for Cape Verde, because they have fought so hard. They have fought so hard for this situation. Cabo Verde didn't lift the World Cup, but they did. They won the World Cup. They might have not lifted the trophy, but they won the World Cup. They lifted the standard of every so-called underdog in football. The football world will remember Argentina advancing, but will it remember Cabo Verde earning everyone's respect? We will not let them forget. We will not let them forget. This wasn't the end of the Cinderella story. It was the beginning of a new footballing nation. Mark my words. We have seen the best of what Africa can offer. And we are going to see that those teams are going to get better and better and better. I can't wait for the next time we see Cabo Verde moving forward. Let me know what you guys think about this down in the comment. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Comment down below your best moments for Cabo Verde in this World Cup. And make sure that you guys absolutely hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.